Hello my dear students, a very good morning to all of you. This is my 7th video in continuation on relation and function. In the previous videos we just discussed about ordered pair, Cartesian product of sets as well as the relation and its domain, codomain and range. Today we shall be discussing about the types of a relation. So let us start with the types of a relation. The first type may be termed as the trivial relation. Trivial relation means a relation which is not of much importance. Why do we say it not of much importance? You will be understand it later on. First, take notice of that. Under the category of trivial relations, we have two types of trivial relations. One of them is an empty relation, which may be also termed as a void relation, and the other one is universal relation. So one by one we are defining these two relations, and after that we shall be showing some examples to make you understand clearly. Watch. Empty relation. If you want to note it down, you may note it down. Since phi is a subset of any set. From the basic knowledge of set theory, we know that phi, the empty set, is a subset of any set, as well as any set is a subset of itself. So we have used these two concepts in both of these definitions. First of all, since phi is a subset of any set, and the definition of relations is that any subset of A cross B is a relation from A to B. And since phi is a subset of A cross B too, or A cross A also, therefore phi may also be termed as a relation from A to B or A to A, which is especially known as an empty relation. Everything is written, you just note it down. Phi is a subset of A cross B or A cross A too, and by the definition of relation, phi is a relation from A to B or phi is a relation from A to B, which is known as an empty relation. This also be denoted as, you just write I and in the suffix you may write phi like this. This will clarify that we are talking about an empty relation. Now so far as universal relation is concerned, since every set is a subset of itself, naturally A cross B is also a subset of A cross B. So in that case again A cross B will be a relation from A to B, or if A cross A is a subset of A cross A, then A cross A is a relation from A to A. Here we have written the definition that A cross B is a subset of A cross B because every set is a subset of itself. A cross A is also a subset of A cross A. So A cross B is a relation from A to B, and A cross A is also a relation from A to A, which may be written as, either you write like this or you may be writing A cross B only, no matter. Whatever the symbol is being used by you. Now I just show you some examples to clarify the doubts, if any. One by one I am going to deal with that. First example for empty relation. Let A is equal to 1, 2 and B is equal to, suppose, 3, 4. Therefore, A cross B is equal to what? 4 pairs, 1, 3, 1, 4. 2, 3 and 2, 4. Consider R is a relation from A to B given by R is equal to AB such that A belongs to A, B belongs to B, and A is greater than B. Now just watch carefully. Is there any element in A cross B where the first component is greater than second component? I think there is no such element, because none of the elements of A is greater than any one of the elements of B. So we cannot have any element in R because no first element is, no first component is greater than the first component. So whatever the relation we have defined over here, that would be an empty relation. This may be written as, maybe write it phi or R phi. this is an empty relation. I just recite you one more example for that. Let us consider so we consider a relation R from a set of natural numbers to set of natural numbers defined as R is equal to xy such that both x and y belong to the set of naturals and mod of x minus y is less than 0. As we know that the magnitude of the difference of any two numbers, whether they are natural numbers or real numbers or any number, that gives you what? Either 0 or greater than 0. So whatever the relation we have to find, in that we need some pairs of n cross n, I mean to say, where the difference of any two natural numbers is less than 0. So we are not going to get any such pair in that particular relation, and so if no pair is there, that would be an empty one and termed as an empty relation. So this is either I write like this, or you may be writing phi or alpha. So this is all about an empty relation. Now let us discuss about the universal relation. Okay, the definition you have understood. I just give you a few examples. Let us consider A is equal to 1, 2 and B is equal to 2, 3. Now in order to write the universal relation, you have to write the whole A cross B, because we have to take the subset of A cross B which contains all the elements of A cross B, so that would be the universal relation. Universal relation would be what? Let's go on taking all pairs means what? A cross B. What is that? 1, 2, 1, 3, 2, 2 and 2, 3. So this is the universal relation, right? In the second example, suppose this was the first example. Second example, you consider R is a relation from n to n, where R is equal to xy such that x comma y belong to n and mod of x minus y is greater than or equal to 0. Obviously, the magnitude of the difference of two natural numbers is either 0 or greater than 0. So every element of n cross n will be taken here into consideration, and that would be the universal relation over the set n. So you may be writing this one as R of n cross n or simply n cross n. So this is all about the universal relation. Now after that we shall be talking about what the inverse relation. The third one is the inverse relation. Whenever we talk about inverse relation, a relation is already there in our mind, because without having a relation we cannot define the inverse relation, right? As if I say that a pair of element AB is there in A cross B, where the relation is defined on A cross B as A is a teacher of B. Naturally, is a teacher of is the relation lying over here. How will you relate B with A? You will be saying, sir, B is a student of A. Naturally, all those ordered pair where the second component is a student of the first component will be taken into consideration, which will be the inverse relation of the given relation is a teacher of. So I am just dealing with this one with some easy example. What is that? Just watch. I have taken the relation R from A to B as containing two elements 1, 3 and 1, 4. Now in order to define what is the inverse of R, will be taken. R will be containing yx, undoubtedly y will be an element of B, x will be an element of A. The most important thing is to notice or to write is that, and you have to watch this one. So whatever the elements xy are there in R, we have to take the reverse of those elements only. We are not concerned about all those elements lying in B cross A. So if xy belongs to R, we shall be taking yx over there. So in this very example, we have got R is equal to 1, 3 and 1, 4. So R inverse would be what? Just go on taking reverse of the 3, 1 and 4, 1. So this is the inverse of the given relation. Got it? Yes, you got it. Now, just watch carefully. What is the domain of R? The set containing the first component of the elements of R, that is 1, 1. And what is the range of R inverse? The second component, the set of second components in R inverse, that is 1. Naturally, the domain of R is the range of R inverse. Likewise, the range of R containing two elements 3 and 4 is the domain of R inverse containing the elements 3 and 4. So from this we observe that the domain of R is equal to range of R inverse and the range of R is equal to domain of R inverse. So to find the range or domain of the inverse of the given relation, if you want to write R inverse and then find the domain and range, you better do that one, but it is quite time consuming. Just go on watching the relation carefully, and if the domain of the inverse of the given relation is asked, you just go on taking the range of the given relation R, and if the range is required, you just go on finding the domain of R. So just note it down. Domain R inverse is equal to range R, and range R inverse is equal to domain R. So this was all about the types of relation. All these things, whatever we have done so far, have already been done by all of you in class 11. We have just recalled all these things because you should not have any difficulty for the class 12 syllabus. So in the very next video, we shall be starting with the types of binary relation which is in your syllabus. Until then, thank you very much. Do take care of yourself and your family members.